Hey, what's going on, guys? Today is going to be a very, personal video for me and something that I'm making, honestly, to look back on myself. If you all care to listen, it's a very personal but good story, a little bit of testimony for you. So this is basically, I've done a lot of reflection about powerlifting in my life and what led up to this pretty much, and my decision, you know, it all kind of sequentially happened. So I'm gonna take it back to literally the past week, because at first I was planning on doing my first men's open meet in November, and I'll tell you guys right now, my decision was regarding that. I'm not like quitting powerlifting. I'm not making some dramatic video to say, oh, I'm retiring to then go do a meet like 5 months from now, like a lot of people do. Because I'll be honest with you, I'm really not a judgmental person, but I don't respect people that do that. Because if you're gonna make a serious decision like that and announce it publicly, you better stand on it. And what I'm saying today, I'm gonna stand on just as like everything else in my life. So last Friday night, right? So like, what has it been, 9 days now? I was leaving a men's Bible study, and this was right before I was about to leave town to go coach Cole at Nationals. By the grace of God, I just want to say Cole placed top 3 in the country, even with that chaos that happened last minute and me not being able to get up there to handle him, and blessings to the people who helped him out. So, you know, when you're training for a prep, and I had just started a prep, and I think it's funny, I'm gonna go back even further. When I started my YouTube channel, right, I didn't anticipate that it was gonna be a lot of preaching and scripture. I'm gonna be straight up with you guys. I thought it was gonna be mostly powerlifting based, because one of my best friends from 6 years ago, he's my RA, my freshman year of college, Jermaine. He came over one night, we started building a content plan. He's like, yeah, let's do it for your coaching, you know, for your powerlifting. And that is an area of my life that I definitely will be documenting more. And I'm a little disappointed because I know I did the one little vlog as a test run, but I was planning on doing a lot of like little vlogs and things during my prep to show you guys like what I do, cooking, recovery, training, like all of that. So there will be an opportunity for that in the future. That's all I can say. But after I got T-boned, I mean, you see me sitting at my home 9 days later. By the grace of God, I was unharmed. That is in my testimony. I got T-boned. It could have killed me. And I got out of the car and walked out. I don't even have to do some super long, drawn-out recovery from severe injuries. I don't think you guys understand how blessed I am that I'm unscathed. But the one thing, outside of like life things that obviously this impacts, with the car and stuff going on, I'm going to be real. I've never had an event where I've woken up the next morning and been like, wow, I'm alive. And I had that for the first time in my life the day after the accident. I'm only 24. I hope nobody ever goes through that that's watching this. And especially if you're young, I hope you never experience that, because there's some things where you gain wisdom, but other things that just like rattle you. And, you know, I'm back on the road. I'm better now. But, man, I'll tell you what. That very few things in my life have affected me the way that this has mentally. And I'm a big believer in, if I'm going to do a meet, if I'm going to do a prep or a competition, I'm going to give it my all, 100%. I'm going to be focused. I'm going to be disciplined, right? Obviously, like anybody else, I've worked. I'm a person. I have a job. I'm involved in my church. So, you know, there's other things that go on in life too. But I'm at a point in my time where, because of this happening and it rattling me so much, I would have to start prep now, and I made the decision that it would be better for my mental health and my body itself to, like, you know, because just because I didn't get like severely injured or anything doesn't mean my body ain't feeling right. Okay, let's be real. I got T-boned, and you know, I just think it's in my best interest physically and mentally that I put this off. And I think it's funny because I was just finished my junior career, and I forced in a last meet where I didn't do too great because of Lent. So recently I found out about St. Michael's Lent, and I'm bringing this up as well in case anybody wants to know about this or participate in this, where you're going to do the prayer of St. Michael, and you're going to do a second Lent from August 15th to September 29th. So I'll personally be participating in that. And again, why is this important? that's the crunch time of my prep. I'd be entering my peak at the end of that too. And, you know, this obviously, I found out about this like this week after my accident, but I just see the way timeline and everything's unfolding. And basically what my long-term plan is going to be, guys, is I'm going to run through this. I might lean out more. I went from 260 to 240 and that first Lent. So I don't know how light I'm going to get, but one thing I've decided is pretty much at the end of this Lent, what I'm going to do is I'm going to retouch my numbers because I got to move back from the power bar to this equipment, and I want to see where my body's at after going through all this. Like, you know, I'm curious. I'll have tested my body and seen what it can handle. But I'm going to run a decently long off-season, shred down, and then I'm going to build up and build into a meet next year. So what does that mean? It means my powerlifting season is effectively over as of this moment. Again, not my career, but this season. And I want to make that clear because there's a time and a place for everything. And if this is a season where I can't prioritize it, then I'm not going to go on the platform if I'm not giving my best. Because to me, this is a craft. And fortunately, in the 6.5 years I've been doing this, I have put myself into a position where, again, I'm not like some world champion. I don't have all this glory. And even if it did, I would give it all to God anyways. That's the type of person I am, and that's the man I am at the end of the day. But, you know, I look at it like this chunk of my career is over. I was about to jump into the next phase. Now I'm not. That's fine. Next year, though, I want to do a very nice quality meet, and that's my thing. And over these 6 years, you know, I started off as not great. I was very average. I had dealt with a couple major injuries along my journey throughout my junior career. COVID, of course, put me out of the gym as well. So the one thing is it's been roadblock after roadblock after roadblock and things getting in my way, including myself. There's been times I've gotten in my own way just as any athlete would, and I'll be accountable. And to me, this is just another one of those things where I hit the roadblock time to detour. A lot of people tend to get beat down and stop, but I'm telling you, this is why you keep persisting. Despite those injuries, despite myself getting in the way of myself, I put myself into a position where I was nationally qualified at the beginning of this year at the end of my junior run. You know, I hit numbers I'd been chasing for a while. I had blasted past some plateaus, and I had all the momentum in the world, you know. And even when it falls apart, right? Because it's easy when you got win after win after win. But what do you do when it's taken away? And I'm looking at it now like, okay, so I know I'm good enough to go to nationals. You know, drug tested, of course. Your boy's natty, but I see like the long-term potential, and that's a lot of things that people don't pay attention to in powerlifting, right? Many people, like, they look at like the 20, 23-year-olds, and I used to do this too when I started. I was like, oh, I'm gonna be one of those kids, you know, that are like shooting stars. Nothing bad, nothing wrong, but for me, one thing I've understood is my journey is a little bit different than those people. I've seen myself make consistent progress year over year over year over year, and I've had to fight for it, I've had to claw for it, I've had to work my tail off for it, period. One thing that's gonna happen is I'm gonna keep working. That's not gonna stop, because if I stop, then the whole journey stops. And for me, this is a voyage. I see myself doing this for like another at least high-level competition, 10 years. You know, we'll see what happens when I have a family. You know, when God blesses me that with the time, if I'm able to continue competing, then I absolutely will, though. But I see myself doing this for another 10, 20 years, honestly. I got a long journey ahead, and I noticed like a lot of really top good lifters end up being in their lower mid, even sometimes later 30s. That is what I'm aspiring to be. That is what I'm looking to do. I don't need to just have some rapid progress. And everybody, I get it. We love quick progress. But think about it. I'm sitting here telling you this because it's a journey. It's like climbing a mountain, you know? And I look at it like I've totaled 54 was my best meet. That was back in January. My lifetime goal would be 1,000 kilos. I'll be happy with $2,000 though. So at this point, I'm closer to 2 than I am to 1K. And that's something, again, you sit there and think about it. And I'm not saying I'm at 1,900, because again, there's a lot of perspective and a lot that even happens like every 50 to 100 pounds once you hit a certain point, and I understand that. But what I can tell you guys is like, just take it from me. If you're ever at a point where you're at a roadblock in your journey, don't quit, just pivot. Because this is essentially what I'm doing. I'm pivoting. And I was gonna make a mindset video, but instead you're getting a piece of my mind, right? And I'm telling you right now, everything I preach, I practice. So I got knocked down, right? Am I going to get up again? Yes. Am I going to keep moving forward? Yes. Do I care if people like or dislike me or what I'm doing? No. So, think about that. Everything I say, I stand on. And there's a reason for that. What type of example would I be, and what type of person would I be making this channel? And the one thing I can tell you is I can't wait to document this comeback. I really can't. When I say that, not in I can't do it, but I just can't wait, because I know that this is going to be a very fruitful and prosperous journey. And I've been having a lot of visions just about what's to come with my powerlifting. And, I've had a lot taken away from me this year. I didn't think that this meet was going to be one of them. I didn't think that the car was going to be one of them, but it wasn't my life. And what does that mean? That I get to continue doing this. So I'm going to keep going and keep moving forward, because I have a lot left to accomplish. I just became a ref, which is one step closer to achieving my dream of being a meet director, which is something I've wanted to do since I was 19. Think about that. I'm 24 now, right? Sometimes you just gotta be patient for things to materialize. Sometimes you gotta wait for the right opportunity, the right time. You gotta be at the right place and with the right people. But many of us just don't, Maybe there's some people on here who are still watching shocked that thought I was gonna go, oh, I'm quitting powerlifting. You're insane if you think I'd ever stop as long as there's a breath in my body. The same way that I share the word of God, I love powerlifting. I love God more, of course, but I love powerlifting. And I'm not gonna stop, because a lot of people do it for clout, for social media, for money, sponsorships, ambassadorships, attention, validation. I don't care. I started doing this before social media even was big, and before powerlifting was even mainstream. So for me, I'll tell you why I do it. I do it for my spirit, I do it to punish my flesh, and I do it to strengthen my mind. And honestly, if you think about it, I'm not sitting here saying that there's bad, some people are doing it that are bad. No one is, I don't believe anybody's inherently bad. I think that we all have evil in us, though. And what I'm saying is that, a lot of people that do it for vanity wouldn't be doing it if it didn't exist. Again, not a bad thing, but when you have something that is ingrained in you so deeply, right, that it is a part of your spirit and a part of your soul, and it's a part of who you are, you're not just going to let that piece go. You're not going to let it die off. You're going to fight for it. And by pivoting and doing this, because I'll be straight up with you guys, this has been the hardest thing I've ever had to come back from mentally. My injury was easier to come back from mentally than this. And I know my numbers aren't even affected the way that this was, that was, but it's just something different when your life flashes before your eyes. And for me, I know I have to get to a better place and a good place to where I'm ready to eat someone like a wolf, like a shark, in a shark tank, or whatever you want to call it. Because when I compete, I'm not playing around. I call the Holy Spirit to fight through me, because it is battle. I don't care what people say. Yeah, we're just lifting weights. You know what I mean? I'm a very competitive person, and I have a competitive spirit. Not to put others down, but because to lift myself up, And for me, I'm going to keep going on. I'm going to keep persisting, keep moving forward, keep carrying forward. So if anybody is at any point, and this goes beyond powerlifting, where if you're reconsidering things in your life, if you're thinking you're stuck or whatever, or things aren't working out, or you're pivoting, or you have to keep starting over, think about what I've done over the past 6.5 years. I have continually just rebuilt and rebuilt and rebuilt and rebuilt and rebuilt, and I'm going to keep doing it. No one can stop me from doing that, okay? Because of that will. When you have a strong enough will, nothing gets in your way. So for me, this is just delayed. My men's open meet will happen when the time is right, and God's going to bless me with the meet that I know and He knows that I'm capable of, period. And I say that with full confidence. I'm speaking with a lot of authority right now, And the only thing I can tell you is carry that over in your life too. Seriously, whoever's watching this. Because when you do that and you subdue it and you take ownership, there's so much power in that. And it's funny because obviously it's called powerlifting, but there's so much more that goes into this beyond what you see, beyond the little jobs you do at the meets or being a competitor or coach, beyond the mentorship. This goes deeper beyond that. This is something that is just deeply wired in me. And had the car accident taken me out, then yeah, I wouldn't be doing this video or that meet. But it didn't. Period. It didn't. And I'm here So I don't know when my next meet's going to be, but 2025 season's done. I got a lot of things I need to refine and work on, but who knows? Maybe I'll be at Nationals next year. Maybe this time not as a coach. You know, I can speak in riddles all I want, but we'll see where the road takes us, and I know God will place me in the right room at the right time for that meet. So today I leave you, hopefully, with some hope, some motivation, and I just want you all to know, keep moving forward. Just keep going, because anything that's worth it is going to have those roadblocks and detours, because it's a test of faith. So I leave you all with that. Thank you all for listening and investing on my journey, and may God bless you all. Until next time, my friends.